What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We are at my buddy's house, Matt, aka Dub Strength.
That's right.
Dub Strength in the house. We are at his home garage gym, and we're going to be doing a little series for you guys. Today, we're taking a deep dive in on the bench press.
That's right.
Matt's bread and butter, his background is powerlifting, and so he is all about bench press, squat, deadlift.
Oh yeah. Three main lifts.
The big three, as y'all like to call it, right?
That's right.
Matt, if you want to tell them a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So again, my name is Matt Wilson. Dub Strength is my company, or my small business, I guess. I'm a full-time firefighter with the city of Charleston, and then also a personal trainer on the side. That's kind of what I've been getting going here recently. But yeah, I was been powerlifting, competitively powerlifting for roughly 10 years. Trained low country strength under Will Kinzel in Charleston.
So Matt, how many years do you think you've been powerlifting?
I've been powerlifting for roughly 10 years now.
10 years.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
Long
yeah.
time. And you said you've done some competitive lifts. You want to throw out some PRs out there?
Ah, man, the old PRs. So yeah, I guess my best powerlifting claim to fame was my multiply shirted bench press. I hit a 605 bench at 198 was a weight class I was in, and then another competition the next year I hit a 620 pound bench press at 220 as my body weight that time.
Damn.
Again, those are multiply shirted bench presses. That's a whole other thing, but we can talk about that another time.
Yeah, we can get into that later.
Yeah.
Matt's also done some ultra marathons.
Oh yeah, that's right. I did 2019, October 2019, I think. I did a 50-mile ultra marathon in the mountains of North Carolina. So try to be a runner and be strong. That's the goal, right?
Hey. You got to be multifaceted.
Yeah, multitask, yeah, that's right. Hybrid athlete, I think is what it's called.
All right, yes sir. So we're going to take you guys into some training and just some questions and whatnot to try and get, like I said, a deep dive in onto the bench press. Whether you're new to it, just kind of getting into it. If you're experienced, this is all going to be something that I think you guys are really going to enjoy. Stick around because we got some good information coming your way. So first things first, trying to figure out when you are ready to bench, because you don't want to just jump straight into getting on a bench press if you're just not quite ready for that. So when do you think somebody's actually ready to start bench pressing and without risking injury or setbacks and stuff like that?
So for me, one of the things I like to do is test push-ups first. So if you can't do roughly 10 body weight push-ups, solid, good form push-ups, then I generally don't have somebody bench yet. First thing I would try to do or test on somebody is see their level of strength for push-ups.
Okay. All right. And about 10 body weight push-ups is good.
About 10 body weight push-ups is just a rough estimate that I like to use.
All right, Matt. So if somebody's having trouble doing push-ups, what would you recommend in order to get to that point?
Rack push-ups are basically just an elevated push-up. This is a simple setup, or this is set up obviously with a power rack. You just throw a bar in here. You can put them on your hooks if you want. Basically, it's the same thing. We'll be doing a push-up except for from an elevated level. So set the bar up somewhere that's going to be for your comfort level, and you'll do your push-up from the bar. Now, if this is too hard, wall push-ups, so you would do that same thing just off the wall. But if you don't have a rack, what you can do is just find something like a couch. A couch works. You can do push-ups off the edge of your couch, a bench, or something like that. Same thing there. You start high, and then once you start getting better at the push-ups, move down to something lower, like this, like for right here, a simple one, just a bench. And then once you get good at doing push-ups from that height, you slowly work down to the floor, doing full regular bodyweight push-ups.
All right, Matt, so in order to get properly warmed up to perform the bench press, what kind of warm-ups, stretching, and stuff like that would you do?
Yeah, so big thing about the bench press is keeping your back nice and tight. So this is, again, a powerlifting bench press. The emphasis isn't just to get a chest workout, it's actually to be able to bench the most weight that you possibly can. Part of that is keeping your back nice and tight the whole time. So what we like to do is kind of prime the upper back. One of the ways to do that is just a simple band, doing band pull-aparts. What you're doing with these, just keeping your arms straight, and I like to say, try to, almost like you're trying to pinch a pencil between your shoulder blades. So you're just pulling the band apart, but while you're doing that, you're tightening up your upper back. Another simple thing to do is just pull-ups for your lats. Start getting some work into your lats as well, because that's another thing. Your lats are going to be engaged during the entire bench press as well. Another stretch that I like to do, this is going to sound a little weird, is a hip flexor stretch. I like to stretch your hip flexors before benching, just because the way you get set up, for a proper setup, at least for a powerlifting style bench press, is you want to be able to drive through your hips, glutes, your legs, and you want to keep a nice tight arch. The thing about if you have tight hip flexors, what that can do is when you're on the bench, if your hips are tight, if your hip flexors are tight, it's going to make it really hard to keep your butt on the bench when you're locked down. So if your hip flexors are tight, when you go to squeeze your glutes, your butt's going to lift up. Having your hip flexors at least somewhat stretched out is going to help with keeping everything nice and tight and keeping your butt on the bench during the entire lift.
All right, guys, so we're going to go into the proper setup on bench, meaning how you're going to position your body and how you're going to leverage your body to be able to push weight. Obviously, in powerlifting, the goal is to push as much weight as possible.
Yeah, much weight in the most efficient way, following all the rules that you would in a powerlifting meet. So,
right.
Yeah.
And in a bodybuilding style lift or training, which is kind of what I do on a daily basis, would be you're trying to actually build your pecs, build your chest. You're actually trying to stimulate that muscle to grow. Compared to just sheer strength, and obviously in powerlifting it's all about pushing the most amount of weight for one rep typically.
One rep max.
That's the goal, one rep. And so we're going to do a little bit of both and just kind of take you guys through what a bench press workout might look like.
Yep.
Alright guys, so we're going to pretend like I don't have a clue what I'm doing. Matt, set me up.
Alright. So first thing we're going to do, so foot placement for the bench press is going to vary for every person. And the important thing with this is that you're going to get leg drive. So go ahead and lay back on the bench here. So for powerlifting, you might be okay by pulling your feet up under just a little bit more. Yep. And when you're able to pull them up like that, you can activate, kind of squeeze your hands. Yep, perfect. Just like that, driving your knees out. And even from right there, drive your heels slightly out, outward. Yeah, just like that. Good. Squeezing your glutes and hips. It kind of gives you just that little bit of natural arch right there. So that looks like a good spot for you. There's also, you can bench with your feet out farther. I actually do with my feet out a little farther. Again, that's something you got to play with, as each person's a little bit different. But for now, this will work right here. So then the other thing is hand placement on the bar. Again, powerlifting, the goal isn't to work the chest, the goal is to bench the most amount of weight. So this is also going to vary between each person. You want to have the right amount of use with your back, chest, and triceps. For me and you are roughly the same size, so if I was you, I would start with pinkies on the rings. So we'll try that grip first. Yep.
And should I arch my back or leave it flat?
So that's the thing. If you're competing in powerlifting, you're going to have to work on a big arch, but I don't recommend that. I don't recommend that for every person, but I do recommend is your natural arch. So your natural lumbar curve, keeping that exactly where it is and not trying to flatten that out. If you flatten out your lumbar while you're benching, it's actually going to put you in a worse position or a better position for injury. So you want to keep that natural arch, and you want to keep everything in your back super tight. Your whole body is going to be real tight during the whole press. So good, that looks real good right there, foot placement wise. And then the other thing, go ahead and pull the bar out. And then from here, I want you to tighten up into your lats. Yep, nice tight back, that looks awesome right there. So as you pull the bar down, you want to keep your elbows tucked just slightly, perfect, and press up from there. So see what he did there was he wasn't bringing the bar up high on his chest where his elbows were flared. They were tucked in, not tucked in all the way to where they're touching his body, but just almost on like a 45. Again, this is going to vary from person to person, but that looks great right there. Let's do one more press there. Bring it down nice and tight, press up hard. Yeah, that looks great.
All right, so now that we have our setup on the bench so we can properly lift and push the weight,